welcome to another Faith Horizons podcast. Today, I'm joined by my friend, Kim Okerman. Kim Okerman is a business leader in the Kansas City space, and we're going to get to learn a little bit about what she does as two different businesses now, but also she's also serving Kansas City in a few different roles that I just think are really cool. And, you know, as she sees things from behind the scenes, like, I want to help that, or I want to help this. And when Kim Okerman comes behind you, you get books and projects get completed and things get done, and there's action. I mean, there's action and movement, you know, and just, it's really kind of a blessing. Well, welcome, Kim.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and excited for the conversation.
So, all right. So we have some books on the table. We're not going to get into that yet, but this is ESL, which is English as a second language. That's correct.
That's right.
And her whole family has had a legacy of English as a second language. And so we're going to get to learn about that. But before we get into that, though, I'd like to talk about some of the other business stuff that you're doing in Kansas City. So you got with an insurance group, a finance group. And what's that group called?
Yep. So I'm with a group called the Miliari Group, and we do holistic financial planning. We do insurance, but we do like estate planning, debt management. Really, the goal would be to sit down with the family and just look at where are you at, where are you going, and then how can we help bridge the gaps.
Yes.
So, and thankfully, I run an independent practice, and then I've got a team with that business. And then because of the organizations I clear through, we've got access to over 100 companies to shop things out for people, so we can really customize exactly what they need, which is fun.
And that's for both families and businesses, correct?
Yeah. I work mostly on the personal side, but I love working with small business entrepreneurs because they need both the personal and then some insight into their business stuff too. So it works out good. Yeah. I've had that, my practice for now 5.5 years, coming up on 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is pretty wild.
So I don't know, like, back when we first started interacting, because we actually kind of like, we went through the program, the beginning program of kind of like the identifying my family's, you know, financial needs and stuff like that. Anyway, but you helped us find something that we wouldn't have found otherwise. And that was the fact that we were just paying, our interest was just like 2 points over on the house.
Oh yeah.
So we refinanced. I mean,
that's amazing. Yeah.
We refinanced and saved $200 a month.
Let's go.
And it was like, you know, you don't think about these things, but until you have like let's take a full view look of what you're doing here and where we're leaking. Where are we leaking at? You know, let's stop the leak, you know? And so anyway, we refinanced, our interest rate dropped, and it wasn't we don't refinance through Kim. Right. You know, they helped us.
But having that insight helps you know what action steps you need to take. And then finding out, you know, is it something that I can help with directly, or is it something that you go work with someone else? And that's awesome. Hey, you know,
it was like
money saved becomes money you can do something else with. So.
Well, we were able to eliminate. So we didn't realize this, but we were able to. Our interest rate dropped like 2 points because it was just a better time to finance.
Yeah.
And then that's what changes everything. So that changes the payment, and then also we were able to eliminate PMI in the same step.
Sweet.
So because like we definitely didn't know over 80% of anyway, so we're able to eliminate two. Like, there you go. Anyway, so it was really a blessing. So,
that's so cool.
But you know, like you just said, you know, like you said, the action steps. So like on we're gonna get into it. There's a website. What is the website name?
For ESLLaunch.com.
ESLLaunch.com. Anyway, so there's an about page on there, and at the very bottom of it says, you know, Kim's passion. You know, I just wrote it down as Kim's passion, but basically what drives Kim, if you look at this bottom of this page, is the potential to serve people and to help them have steps forward to a better future. And that's, like you said, action steps.
Yeah.
That's what you did. You helped with action steps.
Yeah.
And I think you do that on both a professional level by helping a client, but also I think you do it on a professional level with like maybe somebody underneath of you. Is that true?
Yeah, I guess one of, so I've got two main businesses, right? The financial consulting and then ESL Launch. And in my business, I have a team name, and I called it Arise Growth Strategist. And it's Arise is an acronym, and the A stands for action.
Yeah.
And so I'm constantly talking to my team about, you know, like knowledge isn't power unless it's applied, right? You have these things where it's like you can know a lot of things, you can have a lot of resources, but if it's not put into motion, where does it go?
Exactly.
And I think that's something that drives me is, you know, I look at the story that God's brought me along in the the skills he's given me, the unique experiences, the combination of things that are just kind of unusual. I mean, everybody's path is unique, right?
Yeah.
But I look at it and I'm often asking God, like, what have you given this story to me for in order to steward for other people?
Mm-hmm.
And how am I supposed to take action? How am I supposed to walk that out to serve others? And that's definitely a huge motivating factor for me.
So you said like you have a team and then you have a rise, and so like,
Mm-hmm.
and you have this thing called a rise, but that doesn't surprise me that you have a team.
Yeah.
Because you're just, like you said, like you're just like helping other people have steps forward to a better future. So people are kind of drawn to you, whether, like I said, it's a customer or, a coworker, right? Or I don't want to call them an underling, somebody who's under a peer, under peer, that's under you.
Someone
that's kind of,
Yep.
it's climbing the ladder, and you just happen to be in front of them right now.
Yeah.
So
there's a famous podcaster and author, Ed Milet. He's a speaker and coach. And he talks about like you're most qualified to help the person that you once were. And so in the areas that I get to lead, right, it's that exact thing of I'm looking at, this person, they're coming along and they're where I was. How can I help them get, a step ahead, right? And you don't have to be like way ahead in the journey to be able to help someone else in their process, which is what gives me courage to be able to step out in leadership, to be able to do some of those things. Because I think a lot of people wait till they're like, I gotta be like super good at something or the best at something before they look at how can they help someone else along the process. And really, you just need to be a couple steps ahead, and you can help someone else in the process.
Right. Like it's much harder to reach behind somebody, and help them up the cliff if you're 100 feet up.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're just right there, you just grab them and help them up the next step. know, and so that's just like it's just a teamwork mindset of I'm just a step ahead or 2 or 3 steps ahead of you. Let me help you up.
Yep.
That's how it all works. That's so cool that you've been able to do that. So anyway, behind the scenes, because you're working in Kansas City, you're meeting people, you're meeting clients, you're meeting businesses, and also you've had some interaction with, I believe, the Barnabas group, right? And then also you have, I know that you're on the team at Minding the Gap. I'm just bringing these up because these are just different organizations in Kansas City that are kingdom based, they're God based, they've got, and they're behind the missions of God. And so, because you're behind the scenes, what helps you choose an organization that you kind of want to, come alongside and help move forward? Become a multiplier. You're a multiplier effect for them. You know,
that's a great question. And early on, I remember like when I was a student, and you just have these hopes and aspirations. And I remember thinking like, how would I ever be like the kind of person that has to make decisions where they're like, there's multiple organizations are going to choose from multiple things they could do. Right. And it didn't take that long. And then all of a sudden I'm like in a place where there's multiple organizations that I can work with, right? Like lots of things that I can do. Like, you need to start making some choices in where do I invest time, energy, effort, skill sets, resources, because there's limited, we have finite resources and all those things. So I think for me, I love being part of multiple things. I like variety. I like new challenges. I love growing. I love experiences, and I really enjoy the relationships and connections. That to me is like really important. Is building those strong, trusted relationships and connections and a network all throughout Kansas City within the business community, the missions community. Like there's so much there that's amazing. What I'm looking for typically in an organization is that multiplication space, is like, what are they doing currently to take the resources they have and multiply it? And I'm looking at that. I'm looking for visible results. I'm looking for where they're having impact. I'm wanting to partner with organizations that are not getting super bottlenecked into the, like a lot of organizations, they have resources come in and then it gets stuck in all the logistics and all the operations, and then a few results come out the end by the time it spits out, right? But I'm looking for areas that has a smoother, cleaner process in that. And then there's some things that I'm super passionate about. So I work with Minding the Gap because I have a huge passion for kids, and I think that if we can help impact children, that's early in their developmental stage. If we can bring resources, teach them how to read, teach them how to have a relationship with God, have strong adult relationships in their life that they can start modeling after, we can potentially change the entire trajectory of their life. And that has a huge multiplication effect later
Yeah,
on,
absolutely.
right? And then something like Barnabas Group, I see that what I love about that is my background was as a missionary kid. So I grew up in Japan as a missionary kid. Originally, I thought I was going to do missions like as my whole thing. And then I felt like God called me into business, and I kind of kicked and screamed a little bit and was like, no, but
didn't we all? I'm like literally like, we actually like got brainwashed that this idea that missions was Christian telling people about Jesus. Like, can't you do that in the business world?
Like your faith and what you do, like it's all integrates. But yeah, I definitely had this mindset that the best way to serve God was going to be in full-time ministry, And so when God started shifting me into business, I was like, what? And what I love about Barnabas Group is it's one of those spaces that's connecting the two worlds. It's connecting ministry and nonprofits with business people. And what I've found in the business world is that there's a huge, just a pool of expertise that is incredible. I think the business world, because of how it's designed, it creates a competition where people have to become really good in their space. You can't shortcut it because it will fail. Like it will eventually fail if you shortcut the process and if you don't become excellent. And then the ministry nonprofit space so often has such a huge drive with the mission, the heartbeat, you just have this like soul to it. But sometimes they don't have the resources or even the environment to create the level of excellence that I see in the business space. So what I love about Barnabas is that we're pulling in, handpicked ministries and nonprofits. And then we're saying, hey, business world, you guys are incredible at these things. How can we partner together to create support systems, again, to create a multiplication effect and see where we can go? So for me, I can have a small amount of time, money, or resources can it create a big impact being partnered with the right organization.
Yeah, so that's a multiplying effect. Yeah. So I guess it's kind of like Minding the Gap is more specific focus. It has one focus, whereas, the Barnabas Group is more like a multiplier for multiple different organizations, right? So like it's just those are two different areas or ministries that you've chosen to work with. And it's really it's really cool that you find the place that, where can I have the most effect for them? Like where can I have the most effect for them? Yeah. Because otherwise you're wasting your resources, right?
Right.
So if people want to get in touch with you about the finance, is it Milgram Group or
Miliari Group?
The Miliari Group. If they want to get in touch with that, do they contact your team? How do they contact you for that?
Yeah, just coming through directly. So the best way is through referrals. That's how I built most of it. So either an email or on LinkedIn or phone number. A lot of my clients come from because somebody says, hey, Nathan, I think I need to talk to Kim. And so then Nathan puts us in a 3-way text and says, hey, this is so-and-so. They want to talk to you, right? So, and that's been amazing because then it builds that relationship and that trust. And that's the best way.
Those are the better ways to gain clients in like a finance relationship. Like, hey, So if you want to meet up with her, you can find her on LinkedIn or Facebook or something like that and make a connection to learn more about what that is doing. And so you have found that God is definitely a part of the business and missions culture then, right?
Yeah. Oh,
in Kansas City, right? Yeah, we always thought that we had to keep God over here, had to be separated from politics. Then God had to be separated from business, and God's like, hey, wait a minute. You're going to separate me out from everything. Do I not get to be part of anything?
Which is crazy.
It's absolutely insane. He's like, I built it all, Do I not get to be a part of it? So
I was talking to a friend and client just a couple of weeks ago, and they were asking kind of a similar thing of like, how do you walk out your faith and business? And to me, I was like, well, here's the thing: like, if you believe that God is with you, right? That we have the Holy Spirit inside of us,
in us,
right? He's in us. We're in Christ. Then, so I just asked them. I said, so when you walk into your office building, when you walk into your place of work, is it just you?
Yeah.
Or who else walks in there with you? And they were like, oh, that's kind of crazy. I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Like the reality is that there's no way if I'm in a business space, if I'm in a ministry space, there's no way that it can be separated from God in a way because because I'm there and I believe that I'm in Christ and he's in me, right? So it's like immediately if I'm in that space, that has shifted the equation. Like, and so I was just sharing with them, I was like, man, this, like, you can't separate it out. It's because our walk with God should be like every part of our life, right? So it's from the moment we get up to the moment we go to bed, right? Like he is with us, and it should dictate some of the ways that we interact with people, how we serve people, how we do our work life, how we do our family life, how we do our, just recreational, have fun, like all the things that happen in our world. But you can't separate it if you actually believe that we're working toward, that we're one with Christ and we're working towards that sanctification process, right? Like, it's just like, like, it doesn't even make sense in my brain to segment it out.
Absolutely not. Right. Absolutely. That's so cool.